40,000 soldiers. One empire. One tiny nation that refused to kneel. The year is 1395. The Ottoman war machine is rolling north, unstoppable, crushing everything in its path. Their target? A small principality called Wallachia. A place so insignificant that most empires wouldn't even bother learning its name. But here's the thing. Wallachia didn't disappear. Against every odd, against logic itself, they survived. And the way they did it? That's a story about fear, mud, silence, and a leader who understood one brutal truth. Sometimes the only way to win is to make your enemy wish they'd never come. Let's set the scene. Eastern Europe, late 1300s. The Ottoman Empire isn't just powerful, it's a nightmare made real. Year after year, their armies sweep across the Balkans like a flood. Kingdoms fall. Cities burn. Rulers who resist get erased from history. The smart ones? They bow. They pay tribute. They surrender their independence piece by piece, hoping to survive just a little longer. Now, up north of the Danube River sits Wallachia. Tiny. Poor. Militarily insignificant. But geography doesn't care about fairness. Wallachia sits right on the road into Central Europe. Anyone wanting to push deeper into the continent has to deal with them first. So despite being small, despite being weak, Wallachia is a problem. A door that won't open. A thorn the Ottomans can't ignore. Ruling Wallachia at this exact moment is a man named Mircea the Elder. Now Mircea isn't a fool. He knows what happened to rulers who defied the Ottomans. He's seen the bodies. He's heard the stories. But he also knows what submission means, slow death, piece by piece, until nothing remains. So Mircea does something dangerous. He doesn't declare war. But he doesn't surrender either. He governs like Wallachia still matters. Like his borders still mean something. Like independence is still real. From Constantinople this looks like disrespect. Like rebellion. Like weakness being mistaken for strength. And the Ottomans have a solution for that kind of problem. A permanent one. By 1395 they've had enough. Orders go out across the empire. Gather the troops. Assemble the veterans. We're marching north and we're finishing this. 40,000 men. Battle-hardened warriors. Officers who've conquered cities and broken armies twice Wallachia's size. They're not worried. They're not even hurried. This is routine. Cross the Danube, crush resistance, plant the banner, move on. 3 weeks, maybe 4. Then it's over. Except, Mircea is already 10 steps ahead. See, when you're outnumbered 10-1 you don't fight fair. You can't. The moment you line up your soldiers in an open field, the moment you try to match their strength head-on, you lose. It's math. Cold, brutal, unavoidable math. So Mircea doesn't prepare for a battle. He prepares for something else entirely. Something slower. Something crueler. He's going to turn Wallachia itself into a weapon. Orders go out across the countryside. Quiet orders. Desperate orders. Villagers along the invasion route are told to leave. Pack what you can carry. Take your animals. Move deep into the forest. Everything else? Destroy it. Food stores are burned or buried. Wells are poisoned or filled in with stones. Bridges are weakened until they can barely hold a man, let alone supply wagons. Roads are sabotaged. Trees dragged across paths, trails hidden under brush, markers removed. To an outsider the land looks normal. But to an army trying to move through it? Everything is wrong. Everything is harder than it should be. And Mircea's soldiers? They're not gathering in one place. They're scattering. Breaking into small groups. Learning the forest. Memorizing the marshes. Training to strike fast and vanish faster. They're not preparing to win a war. They're preparing to make the Ottomans regret starting one. Now, the Ottoman army crosses the Danube. Confident. Organized. Unstoppable. And almost immediately things start feeling off. The first village they reach? Empty. No people. No food. Not even animals. Just silence. Okay, fine. The people ran. That's normal. They'll find supplies in the next village. Next village? Same story. Empty. Silent. Nothing. The roads are narrower than expected. The maps don't quite match the terrain. The forests press in close on both sides. Marshes appear where dry ground should be. Still they press forward. This is a minor inconvenience. Nothing more. Then the attacks start. Not battles. Not armies clashing on open fields with banners flying. Just moments. A supply convoy moving through the trees. Arrows from nowhere. Horses scream. Men fall. Then silence. By the time reinforcements arrive, the attackers are gone. Just bodies and burning wagons left behind. A patrol goes out at dawn. They don't come back. Guards at the edge of camp hear footsteps in the forest at night. They call out. Nothing. They relax. Then hours later, a scream from the opposite side of camp. Another attack. Another vanishing. Day after day the same pattern. Strike. Vanish. Strike. Vanish. The Ottomans tighten their formations. They double the guards. They stop moving at night. Smart decisions, right? Wrong. Because now they're slower. Now they're burning through supplies faster while getting nothing from the land. Now every step forward takes longer, costs more, drains them deeper. And the land itself is fighting them. The region they're moving through, Rovine, is a nightmare. Marshes everywhere. Ground that looks solid until a horse steps on it and sinks to its knees. Forests so dense you can't see 20 feet ahead. Wet, cold, miserable terrain where heavy armor becomes a curse instead of protection. The Wallachians know this land like their own skin. They know which paths stay dry, which trees provide cover, where sound travels and where it dies. The Ottomans know none of this. They're stumbling through blind, exhausted, hungry, paranoid. Morale starts cracking. Soldiers stop sleeping well. Every sound in the forest is a threat. Every shadow could be an enemy. Guards stay awake too long, make mistakes. Discipline slips. Fights break out over nothing. And still the attacks continue. Not every day. That's the genius of it. Some days nothing happens. Just tense silence. Waiting. Wondering when the next strike will come. That waiting is almost worse than the actual fighting. Commanders try to regain control. They organize sweeps into the forest to hunt down the Wallachians. But trying to chase light infantry through swamps with heavy cavalry? It's suicide. Men get separated. Lost. Picked off one by one. The Wallachians aren't fighting to destroy the Ottoman army. They're fighting to break it. To drain its strength. To make every forward step cost more than it's worth. And it's working. Now don't get it twisted, Wallachia is suffering too. They're losing men. Losing resources. Every ambush is a risk. Every attack could be the one where they get caught, surrounded, wiped out. Mircea's forces are exhausted. Starving. Running on fumes and pure desperation. This strategy only works if they outlast the enemy. If the Ottomans decide the cost is too high and turn back. But if the Ottomans push through? If they endure and reach Wallachia's heartland? It's over. Game over. No second chances. So both sides are locked in this brutal test of endurance. Who breaks first? Weeks pass. The Ottoman advance slows to a crawl. What was supposed to be a quick campaign has turned into a nightmare. Soldiers are dying not from glorious battle, but from exhaustion, disease, starvation, and ambushes they never see coming. Supply lines stretch back hundreds of miles. Every wagon that tries to reach the front gets attacked. Food runs low. Water is scarce. The army that was supposed to conquer a nation is barely holding itself together. And then, the questions start. Ottoman commanders, sitting in muddy camps looking at maps that don't make sense anymore, start asking, why are we here? What's the objective now? Conquer a land that's been stripped bare? Hold territory that costs more to occupy than it's worth? Keep losing men to an enemy we can't even find? For what? Pride. To prove a point? And slowly, painfully, the realization sets in. They're not winning. They're just stuck, bleeding, dying slowly in a place that wants them gone. So they make the call. The hardest call a commander can make. Withdraw. Not a rout. Not a panic. A controlled, disciplined retreat. Guards at the rear. Eyes on the forest. Moving carefully back the way they came. The Wallachians harass them the whole way. More attacks. More losses. But they don't need to destroy the Ottoman army. They just need them gone. And eventually, they are. The Ottoman Empire, the unstoppable force that conquered kingdoms, turns around and leaves. Not because they were beaten in battle, but because staying cost too much. Wallachia survives. So what does Rovine teach us? It's not about glory. It's not about heroic last stands or impossible victories. It's about understanding reality. Mircea knew he couldn't win a fair fight. So he didn't fight fair. He turned his weakness into strategy. He used the land, the weather, the enemy's own confidence against them. He made survival the victory. Because sometimes the greatest act of defiance isn't defeating your enemy. It's refusing to disappear. It's forcing an empire to look at a tiny nation and realize, this isn't worth it. Rovine didn't end the Ottoman Empire. But it stopped them. It put a crack in the idea that they were unstoppable. And for Wallachia? They got to remain. To exist. To fight another day. And in the cruel math of history, sometimes that's enough. If this story hit you differently, if you're realizing that war isn't always about the biggest army or the sharpest sword, smash that like button. Subscribe if you want more deep dives into the battles that changed history in ways textbooks won't tell you. Drop a comment. What other impossible victories do you want to hear about? What other moments where the underdog rewrote the rules? Because history is full of them. And we're just getting started.